is Thursday, March 11th, 2021. I'm Simon, reporting from school.
And I'm Andres, also reporting from school.
This week we have been celebrating Global Day of Inclusion. We participated in the Spread the Word to End the Word campaign.
We took a pledge not to use the R word when talking about people with intellectual disability.
Let's take a look at the students at EGMMS organizing this event. Great job, Ms. Garner.
Last month was Black History Month. We learned a lot about the missing pages of our history book.
Speaking of history, we spoke with Garner Town Council leaders about Garner's Juneteenth celebration. Let's hear what they have to say.
Good morning, children viewers. We would like to welcome two leaders from the town of Garner.
We have Mr. Dickerson, Garner's town manager, and Mr. Dellinger, a Garner Town Council member. Welcome to our broadcast.
We understand that the town of Garner is doing something to celebrate Juneteenth. Is this a new celebration?
All right, I guess I'll take that question. Is that for me, I think? It is a new celebration. We are in the early stages. How this came about is the town of Garner was looking at its holiday schedule, and one of my employees asked if we were gonna have Juneteenth as a holiday. And I took that to the town council, and the mayor and the council thought it was a good idea. However, they wanted a committee to think about what we could do. So the mayor put a committee. We have been discussing how we would celebrate it. So it would be something new for the town of Garner.
What does our Juneteenth Planning Committee do?
I'll take that one. So the committee is comprised of members of the community and myself and the town manager. And really what we had to do is research Juneteenth and also research Juneteenth as its own holiday celebrated other places. But we also had to look at the history of Juneteenth in Garner. And was there any history of it here? Has it been celebrated here? Are there traditions in the community that we could build off of that maybe have been lost or just not observed over time? And then what we do from that is decide, well, what's the best way to observe Juneteenth, this important holiday? And what's the town's role? And how do we do it also in as a new celebration, but also how do we do it safely when it comes to COVID? And then what we do is come back to council and get recommendations from them, because they know other people in the community and they're part of the community, to get suggestions and recommendations from them. So we meet almost on a monthly basis, trying to figure out the best way to observe Juneteenth for the first time in Garner.
Will there be a town celebration this June?
There likely will not be a large celebration like we would like to have this June, just because of COVID and social distancing. What we are trying to do is incorporate it into any other events that we might have. Not sure we're going to have our large July the 3rd event like we normally do, but at some point we'll incorporate it into that. And we're trying to get widespread community support. So we want other groups like churches and schools that have events on a normal basis to incorporate Juneteenth into their festivities.
What changes will you make in the future when social distancing is not such a concern?
That's a good question. So really the first year, because there's not a history, we're really trying to do a lot of education around Juneteenth and why it's important in Garner. Garner is a very diverse community, so we feel like it's really important to highlight this important celebration of independence for everyone. It shows appreciation for everyone in the community. So this year, like Mr. Dickerson said, we probably won't hold our large July 3rd celebration out at Lake Benson, but the following year, we want to have Juneteenth leading into July 4th to be sort of almost a celebration of independence across the town. So it'll start to be incorporated. It'll be its own celebration, hopefully, outdoors, and we'll have some event. We're not quite sure. And then it'll be sort of a lead into our July 3rd celebration that is our largest event in town, actually. So hopefully post-COVID, we'll be able to actually gather around and celebrate this together.
Yeah, and I would add that I hope our biggest hope is that everyone will understand what Juneteenth is, and hopefully you as students and educators are learning and teaching that in your history classes now, because it's not something that's widely taught in today's curriculum, but we think is very important in this day and age, especially that we as Americans have a complete understanding of everybody's history.
And it's a great opportunity for when you all learned it in school to then teach your parents who may not have observed it. I grew up in North Carolina and my parents didn't observe it. So it's a good opportunity for students to become the teachers in the community around these types of this new celebration that we're going to do.
We have enjoyed hearing about the plans for the celebration.
Thanks again to our Garner officials for this interview.
We hope you have enjoyed this week's Trojan 6 News. Thank you for watching. Side, strong side. Side, strong side.